This assignment is 2 string bracelet and charm. You're going to need a wrapped loop with a bead. This could be a medium size or a large bead, focal bead, or you could do a smaller medium size, whatever fits on the wire is fine. You'll need a wrapped hook, because we'll be making a functional bracelet. And you'll also need 16 inches of the string wire, same as what we use for the keychain. 0.3 if you're going to buy your own wire. We'll use 7 to 8 focal beads, the large beads, 12 to 14 medium-sized beads, and lots of seed beads. For this assignment, we're going to create a pattern. And here's a sample of the pattern. So your focal beads are going to be anything bigger than that medium-sized bead for us will count as a large bead, and then lots of seed beads to this very smallest size. You'll be doing a pattern of those. You can choose if you want 6 or 7 of that pattern on your bracelet. Here's an example of 6. So they chose to do them in pairs, so this 2, these 2, and these 2. This one chose to do 7, and they offset it. So the one side has 4, and the other side has 3. So notice they still have the focal bead, the medium size on each side, and then the seed beads that are in between. So you can choose either one. You can do 6 and offset it if you would like as well. To begin, you need to make your wrapped loop and your wrapped hook, so you have those, and we're going to start off by using your wrapped loop. After the wrapped loop, you're going to need your 16 inches of string wire, and I've already cut that. We're doing 16 inches. We're going to actually save a crimp, and I'll show you here in just a second. If I have a class of 50, that saves 50 crimps, so that saves me a lot actually. If you're doing this on your own, you can string these individually just like we did for the keychain. So I'm getting my crimps over here. I'm using the tube crimps today. They're a little bit easier, especially if you're just beginning, than the regular size ones. So I have my crimp on here. I'm going to slide it all the way down. Just like with the keychain, we're leaving just a tiny bit of space at the top. And you're going to go ahead and use your crimpers to crimp that on. Okay, so I have that attached. And I'm ready to string my beads. I would do them individually so you can see where they're at. Maybe do the one side, tape it off, and then your other side. And when you're done and satisfied, go ahead and crimp it to your wrapped hook. I was going to show an example as well. If you're doing this on your own, or we're doing another assignment later where you need to have the strings separate, you could do that. So I have 2 strings that are 8 inches instead of the one that's 16, and they're crimped individually. We'll have a future assignment where you might decide to do a necklace like this. You could string the one side and string the other, and it would hold it, something like that, if you would like. But for this assignment, we're just going to split it in half. So you're going to go ahead and string them. Most people, for the beads, I'm going to show you some examples. This one is a little bit small, too small for the average person. They only did 5 inches worth of beads. I can barely get it on. I have a pretty average size wrist. So I would say you need probably at least 5.5, if not 6.5 inches worth of beads. This one is a little bit bigger than what I would like. This person did 6.5, because if you do that many inches worth of beads, you also have to measure in the amount that your wrapped loop and your wrapped hook take up for the bracelet. The average size person's about 7 inches. This is probably about 1.5 inches or so. Yep. 1.5 inches long. So that's why you don't want your hook very big. So if you make your hook and it's huge, you might want to redo that. Also be sure before you get started that your hook and loop hook together. You don't want this to be too small or this end to be too big and then not fit. Then it wouldn't be a functional bracelet. So you're going to go ahead and put all that together. You're going to crimp everything on just like we did for the keychain. So on the other side, you will have 2 individually crimped on. You'll tuck in the tail, put the crimps on. Make sure these are all the way down. I would ensure that you have seed beads on the side where you're going to be tucking in the tails. It's just a little bit easier. Next, I'm going to show you how to add the charm. So after you complete your entire bracelet, like this one, I'm going to add the charm. For the charm, we're going to do a spiral, just like we did for the wire sample. Add your bead and then a wrapped loop around both strings so they are connected. That'll help keep it together. So I need my round nose pliers. You're going to make a spiral about 2.5, 3 times. Make sure that that's flat. I'll switch my flat nose pliers. And then after I make my spiral, what I'm going to do is actually bend it up. So I'm going to put the spiral in my pliers, and I'm going to angle this straight up, poke yourself in the eye, so that you get kind of a 90-degree angle. It adds like it's a little shelf on there. Just, it looks cute. We're going to add a bead. Any size bead you want to add. If you want to add just a medium-sized bead on there, that's perfectly fine. I'm more worried about your skill. And we'll break the neck. Everything's going to be the same as when you do a regular wrap loop, except we're going to add it to the bracelet. So for this one, because this area is so big, we want to make sure to use the largest part of your pliers and go ahead and do everything like you would normally do. But you will need to open that up. So I'm going to open it just a little bit more so I can be sure to get both of those strings of beads in there. So kind of almost obnoxiously open. Choose a spot where you have seed beads together because it'll be a lot easier for you. So I'm just going to slide those in there, and then it'll continue just like a regular wrap loop. So I'm going to push those back together. You could use tools or your hands. I would use my pointed flat nose to make sure you can get right in there without crunching anything you don't want to. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and wrap that on. So the rest of that is just like what you've done before.